The first step in heap sort is to pick a pivot. In this case, we're going to pick the last element in the array. Our goal is to move anything that is bigger than 3 to the right of 3 and anything less than 3 to the left of 3. So how are we going to do that? Well, we are going to pick the first item in this list and we're going to see, is this item less than 3? In this case, it is. And we're going to move forward. Is this item less than 3? It is. Move forward. Is this item less than 3? Ooh, it's not. It's actually bigger. But instead of doing a whole bunch of complicated swaps, we're just going to put a pointer over here. Or like a marker. Now, we're going to move one more time. Is 4 less than 3? It's not, so... but we already have a marker up here. So let's move on one more time. Okay, this is where things get complicated. -1 is less than 3, but we have this marker. So what do? We're going to take -1 and take 5. We're going to put 1 up, and then we're going to move this over here. Now we move one more time. Now I know it looks complicated, but it looks like we're going to have to do the exact same thing again this time. So is -2 less than 3? In this case, it is less than 3, but we have this marker up here. So we're going to move -2 and swap it with 4. And then we're going to move this marker up. And then we're going to keep going. Now, in this case, our blue marker hits the pivot. And now what we do is we take the pivot and we swap it with this red marker. And then we delete this. And now we know for sure that all items to the right of 3 is greater than 3, and all items to the left of 3 is less than 3. Now let's do the exact same thing on these two subarrays. So let's pick the left one, -2, and we're going to ask, okay, is this item less than -2? In this case, it's not. 1 is bigger than -2, so we're going to put a marker in there. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to iterate this over here. 2 is greater than -2. The marker stays. -1 is still bigger than -2, so the marker stays. And in this case, we hit the pivot, so let's do the same rules as before. Let's take this pivot and let's swap it with the red. And now we know for sure that this item is the smallest item, and anything to the right is bigger than this item. So, now we have a new subarray right here. Let's do the exact same thing again. Pick a pivot. In this case, it's 1. And then we ask ourselves, okay, is 2 less than 1? In this case, it's not. So we put a red marker on top and we move forward. Is -1 less than 1? It is, but we have a red marker, so we have to do stuff. What we have to do is we have to swap -1, 2, 1 goes up here, and then, the red marker goes forward, and now this goes here. Now the blue marker hits the pivot, so let's delete this, and let's perform our swap with the red marker. And now we know for sure, once again, that this item has its lower items to the left and higher items to the right. And we have to do the exact same algorithm one more time to the left and to the right. In this case, it's pretty easy because -1 is the only item on this subarray and 2 is the only item in this subarray, so we know we're done with that. And now the final two, number 4 and number 5, let's pick the last item in this subarray as our pivot. And let's grab number 4. And now we ask, is 4 less than 5? It is. So let's move forward. And we hit the pivot. But, this time we don't actually have a red marker, so we don't have to swap this pivot with anything else. And we know that 5 is exactly where it has to be. And now we have a subarray of a single item. And in this subarray, it's actually pretty easy because it's the final one. So